Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel at long last. I'm Chance Ellison.
I'm Russell Howe.
And this is Notorious by Chance YouTube channel. We're back to making videos. We're going to try and be more constant this year. Just last year got really rough towards the end. Like, really rough.
It did. It got hectic.
Yeah, but regardless, we are back. And, of course, the first video, top 20, first video 2020, I can't talk right now, is going to be the top 20, not top 20, top 10 of last year. Who does 20? Losers do 20. We do our top 10. And, Russell, we were just talking about this off screen. Like, this was a fantastic year for film, I think.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, if you look at some of the other years, like the last couple of years, like this one really stood out just because of the sheer amount of numbers there were. There was I had so many different honorable mentions, other ones I wanted to put on there. I just didn't have room for it, and it kind of sucked. But nonetheless,
so many great films just missed out on my list.
Yeah, because I had to think about other movies I really liked. I wanted to squeeze on here. I just couldn't. There was only room for 10. So, yeah.
All right. So before we get into the actual list, do you have any honorable mentions you want to throw out there before we go into it?
Yeah, some honorable mentions in no particular order. I have Crawl. It's a fun film. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyable film. And I never thought it was going to be that good. Like when I saw previews for it, this movie was going to suck. It was a really fun film.
We made fun of that trailer constantly on the podcast.
We did. I got the Joker honorable mention.
Really? That's high.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it was like, it's a good film, but like I said, there was just a lot of other films that were just really, that I walk away with.
Midsommar, you said?
Midsommar is another one I enjoyed a lot.
Okay.
Little Women, The Farewell, Ready or Not, Marriage Story, Doctor Sleep, How to Train Your Dragon. The third How to Train Your Dragon was a fantastic way to conclude, I think, the trilogy. Okay. Long Shot, like how you said on the podcast, kind of was one of those unexpected, comedies. It was a really good film. What else I got? I got Ford vs. Ferrari. A horror movie that I enjoyed that really was underrated. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I enjoyed that. I thought it was. I thought
it was pretty good. I just think that the script for that movie just oof.
Yeah, I mean it was rough, but I mean it was a fun time, and like I said, it was one of those ones where I look back and I'm like, this was actually kind of a surprising film, and I had fun with it. So
it did give me one of my favorite quotes of the year, which is, "You don't read the book reads you."
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is not going to pride itself on memorable lines, you know what I mean? But true. What else? We had Good Boys. It was a fun comedy, and a documentary that is part of the Lost episode is Apollo 11.
Miss Lost episode.
Yeah, which was a fantastic documentary. Just the sheer amount of work that went into constructing this was absolutely crazy. So it was a really good one, and one that I just wanted to recognize. But yeah, those were the ones that were honorable mentions I had to leave off.
All right, so before we get my honorable mentions out of the way. So this is actually in order. My entire list will be on Letterboxd when this video is published, so you can go look at that. I'm only gonna do 10. So I got Us, Jordan Peele's Us. Really enjoyed that film. One of my, I think it was my first, not my first. It was about my second true number one of the year because I really, really dug what Jordan Peele did with Us. Rocket Man did not make my list. Hung tight in the top 10 for so long, didn't make the cut in the end. Peanut Butter Falcon was in the top 10 for a hot minute. Just got out pretty recently. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I really enjoy the film. I get it. I get the problems, but at the same time, I really think it's a good movie. 1917. 1917 was one of the ones. We're doing this so late because that's one of the ones we wanted to see before we got this list out. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Love My Boy Quentin. I think it's a really, really, really good film. I just missed out. Little Monster, which is like a little indie comedy. Little zombie musical starring Lupita Nyong'o. It's on Hulu. Go check it out. It's a really, really great film. Ford vs. Ferrari did not make my list either. It was really close. I think that's a really, really good, really solid picture. Jojo Rabbit, really tough to leave this one out. I love Mr. Taika Waititi. I think he did an excellent job with Jojo Rabbit, but just barely missed. And my honorable mention is Dolomite Is My Name, the last casualty of my top 10. It was so close. So incredibly close to making the list, but it just fell short. So honorable mentions out of the way. Russell, tell us about Hotel Mumbai.
Yes, no surprise that my number 10 is Hotel Mumbai. honestly, it was one of these films where it starred Dev Patel and Armie Hammer. Dev Patel actually, this is actually a true story. It was based.
Was Jason Isaacs in this movie?
God, I don't know. I don't remember. It'd been so long since I've seen it. I don't even remember. Unless you want to look it up, I don't know. I know that this is a true story based upon the Taj Hotel, the terrorist attack. And basically, this movie is just pretty much following the hotel staff risking their lives to pretty much save all the other people that were inhabiting the hotel. And it's just a really on the edge of your seat type of film. You just really are on the edge of your seat the whole entire time. And then there's a scene where Armie Hammer and his wife, or his girlfriend at the time, I think it's his wife, well, they have a child, like a baby during this. And so the terrorists are like walking around the floor and stuff like that. And there's a scene where the baby is actually like crying, and you're like, oh shit, like kind of like in A Quiet Place when the baby was crying. You're like, oh shit, like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Fantastic film. It really leaves you, like I said, again, like it's on the edge of your seat. It's a pulse pounding thriller. And it's just a tragic story where all these people come together to try to help and save one another. And it was one of the ones where I walked away from, and I told you before, like the whole entire year, this movie was solidified. Like every year there's a movie that's underrated. And I think that's a great thing about film. There's that movie that just you're going to go to bat for, and you're going to put in your top 10 no matter what. This was one of them. And I think this movie it came out so early in the year that a lot of people didn't, kind of forgot about it and didn't talk about it. But I thought it was a well-crafted film. Like I said, it drove you in the whole entire time watching it. So I have Hotel Mumbai as my number 10 of 2019.
Yeah, you always have these weird little films. Like Chappaquiddick was this spot like 2 years
last year.
Yeah, well, technically last year, because of been 2018. But years, yeah. So I mean, you really sold me on watching Hotel Mumbai. I'm gonna watch. I think it's on like Hulu or something, or like Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna get to it eventually. So coming into my number 10, I'm gonna watch the movie because I like Chappaquiddick, so I trust you. So going into my number 10, I have John Wick Chapter 3. I am a sucker for a well-crafted action film, and I think there are a few franchises that are doing it really well right now. It's like John Wick, Ip Man kind of, but that just ended. Mission Impossible, and I think I already said John Wick. But the third one, I think, really steps up. It really, as far as like action, as far as like staging, choreography, it really steps the game up. Not to mention, like the entire cast is great. I love Keanu Reeves. I think this is the most perfect role for Keanu Reeves since Point Break. I think he's excellent. I love the new additions, Mark Dacascos as this new like nemesis type figure. I thought he was awesome. I like Asia Kate Dillon, Lawrence Fishburne. I think Halle Berry, also great addition to the cast. She was fantastic in the amount of scenes she had. I think that there is a lot of craft, a lot of skill. These are basically like American kung fu films. And I can really get down with that. I think that there's a lot of TLC, a lot of training, a lot of work that gets put in these movies. And they deserve recognition from the Academy. So Academy, get on that one. But yeah, I love this franchise. I will continue to love this franchise until they put out a bad film, in which I don't think is possible. So yeah, John Wick 3, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum at number 10.
Nice. Number 9 was one of your honorable mentions, Taron Egerton's Rocket Man. Just really enjoyed this film. Elton John, one of my favorite musicians, and I just like how we talked about it before in the podcast. It was a more leveled across the universe. You know what I mean? Type film.
That's true. That's very true.
It was a less leveled one where it was like, it was more. It told you about him, and it was just telling a story. His music drove the whole entire film. I think Taron Egerton's singing and his dedication to the singing, and actually not having to have dubbed over singing and stuff like that. I enjoyed this film overall, and I think it was even his friendship with Elton John that I saw on Instagram. He was really committed to this film, and and it's a shame that the Academy didn't recognize him. I think maybe just because of the Bohemian Rhapsody boom last year, I think maybe they were kind of like, we've kind of recognized the music biopic type film. We're going to kind of like let him sit this one out, and it's unfortunate because he's really deserving of a Best Actor nominee, and he didn't get it. But overall, a great film, great music all around, and I had to put it on my list, so I have Rocket Man at number 9.
I think if they come out later in the year, you probably would have seen him get an Oscar nomination because I think he's just that damn good. So yeah, Rocket Man. I think it's a wonderful film. It barely missed out. Like I was championing that movie for the longest time. I think it's really great. Go see it. Coming in at my number 9, I have Knives Out. So Knives Out is a movie that I think not tailor-made for me, but something that when I heard like, oh yeah, this piqued my interest. A murder mystery directed by Rian Johnson, a genre and director who I greatly respect. And I'll admit, when I was watching it, the first time I saw it, I was just like, wait, you're doing what? We're doing this? And then I didn't like it for a little bit. Then I realized, oh yeah, it's a Rian Johnson whodunit, because it takes the whodunit genre and just completely flips it on its head and is told in such an unconventional way. The writing is super smart. The entire cast is great. One of my favorite Daniel Craig films outside of Bond. I think he's awesome. I love Chris Evans. Ana de Armas stealing the entire show. Can't wait to see her as a Bond villain. No, sorry, Bond girl. She's not the villain. Maybe it was. Who knows? But we broke news, Russell.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's well shot, well directed, well written, well acted. There's very little I dislike about Knives Out. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard great things about it, and I'm really looking forward to catching it.
Because you got to wait for your wife. That's why you haven't seen it.
She's such a big fan of these thrillers with the twist endings, man, and like the whodunit type thing. So I have to. Right. I told her I would save it for her, so I'm going to. And number 8, I did kind of alter the list here right before we started here. I put Avengers Endgame on here. I wasn't going to put it originally, but I was
shocked when you said it wasn't going to be on.
Because here's the thing, kind of how we talked about with on the podcast. You have 11 years, 22 movies into the making here. And it's just a great send-off. The way the Russo brothers kind of, tied everything up, up from 2008 till, present time, and finally put like a little bow on it to, send off the MCU and the phase 1 or the Avenger phase, whatever the hell they call it. What was it called?
The Infinity Saga.
Infinity Saga. Yeah. And kind of wrap that up with a bow. And I think they did a great job doing it. And they did a really good service in that. I thought Robert Downey Jr. Again had a shot for at least a supporting or if not a best actor nominee in the tank. I thought he was the heart and soul of this MCU from 2008 till now. I mean, and I think what the Russo brothers did with all this, tying all this together, the amount of pressure they probably faced in doing that, and just the sheer amount of hours they probably had to watch these films. And to kind of find a way to intricately tie this all in, I think was absolutely groundbreaking, and it was absolutely phenomenal. The 3-hour runtime goes by rather quickly. And, like I said, there's really not much you can say about it. I think it's like one of those perfect comic book films. So, yeah, at number 8, Avengers Endgame.
All right, yeah. I'm glad it made the cut after all. So going to my number 8, it's fun. This is so delayed because there were two movies I wanted to see. 1917, and the one that ultimately made my list, which I didn't think would, Just Mercy. Just Mercy is a legal drama. It's directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. He's the same guy who did Short Term 12. He's going to be doing Shang-Chi for Marvel, which I'm super excited for. And stars Michael B. Jordan as this lawyer, Brian Stevenson, who goes to defend people on death row who are wrongfully accused. The main one being Walter McMillan, played by Jamie Foxx. And I was really taken aback by just how much this film affected me. Like there is one scene takes place like near the end of the first act that that's the scene where it hooks you, and that's the part where the movie gets just deeper and just so it becomes just so it's so nuanced from the beginning that just takes it to a whole nother level. The entire cast is great. It's well directed. I think the script is great, and it's one of these movies that had such a great emotional impact on me that there was no way I could leave it off. I think Just Mercy is I think it's a really, really great film. And I think it's a shame that WB did not put a bigger Oscar push behind that instead of Joker, because I think that could have got some serious nominations and probably even some wins.
Yeah, another one I need to check out. One that I didn't, because there's a couple other ones that I saw.
Right.
But yeah, definitely want to check that one out. It looks really good. Moving into my number 7, I have Matt Damon, Christian Bale, Ford vs. Ferrari. It was one of those films where...
I thought it was not mentioned. Did you say it was not mentioned?
You know what? I realized when I was doing my list, I had Rocket Man twice on my list. My list. Listen, let me tell you what I had. Here's what happened. I had to redo my list because I totally forgot a film in there, and I had to maneuver films around. So when I was writing the list for the show here, I had Rocket Man on twice, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like I'm looking at. I was like, okay, so where's the film at? And I see Rocket Man and Rocket Man. I'm like, crap. So then, so
I'm leaving all this in, by the way. This is great.
Well, that's fine. But yeah, so therefore, Ford versus Ferrari went from honorable mention to number 7. Okay.
How does this work?
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, James Mangold directed the hell out of this film. It's a really good film.
I agree.
Great performances, especially from Christian Bale. Matt Damon, great too, obviously. But just to see Ford go up against this big giant Ferrari, you know what I mean? Like American-made car company going up against Ferrari, the swift, Italian-made cars that were, obviously think of as pretty much unbeatable. And just to see that journey and the characters playing off each other, Damon and Bale, like the chemistry they have together on the screen is great. And you just love that whole entire, the setup. The racing scenes are really fantastic. I think James Mangold does a great job shooting that.
Oh, some of the best racing scenes ever put to film. They are
for sure, incredible. Yeah. And it's fun. It's like they put you right in the driver's seat. It's a fun time. It's a good pulse pounding, action film when it gets to that. But on the same token, it has heart, it has drama, it has all the other things necessary for that type of film. But it's a fun film, and I think it's one of the year's best. So I got Ford versus Ferrari, honorable mention to number 7.
To number 7. That's how it goes on this.
Only here you will get that.
Well, I am not redoing my list on the spot because my list is. I know how many movies are on my list. There are no repeats. So going to my number 7. My number 7 is Uncut Gems. The Safdie brothers really impressed me with their first feature, Good Time, which I'm not sure there's their first feature, but their last feature, which is fantastic. And I remember heard like Safdie brothers are working with Adam Sandler next. I'm just like, okay, you got my attention. And this was one of the most anticipated of the latter half of the year. I had no idea what I was in for with this film because, well, first of all, Adam Sandler giving one of, if not the best performance of his entire career. Like, he is incredible. Should have gotten an Oscar nomination. Surrounded by a supporting cast, they don't get a lot to do, but they do make an impression. Like, Keith Stanfield's great. I love Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett's surprisingly a really good actor. I kind of hope he has more movies. Julia Fox is great. Idina Menzel as his wife is awesome. But what really impressed me with this movie is the writing and the direction. Like, it feels very Altman-esque. Like, if Altman was alive today and did a bunch of peyote, this is probably the movie he'd make. It's very chaotic and it's very hectic. So I understand why. Like, if that style throws you off, I understand because it's very, very hard to get into. Once you get into it, I think it's a real. They do a really good job of portraying like the Diamond District, like the world, that the city itself feels like a character. And then you get to that last third of the film. That is maybe the most white knuckled I've been in a movie this entire year. Like, it is, they crank the tension up to 11. You're on the edge of your seat. You're breathing hard. It's just like, wow, I cannot. It's very few times this year or just in general am I this anxious in a theater. So yeah, I think Uncut Gems is great. Can't wait to see what the Safdie brothers do next.
Okay, so moving into number 6, another honorable mention of yours, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's, 9th film, and I thought it was fun. It was a really good film. Great performances. Brad Pitt, hopefully, is going to take home an Oscar this year. Leonardo DiCaprio delivers a great performance. And I just love that whole entire backdrop of the 1970s Hollywood, obviously.
60s
and 70s, like a little bit of the 70s. I think it's mostly 60s. It's late 60s.
It cuts off at 69.
Late 60s, okay. So the late 60s with the whole, backdrop with the Manson murders and stuff going on, obviously playing a part into that with the Sharon Tate and all that. But I love the whole entire film as in general. Just, Tarantino does a great job building the tension, especially the scene when Brad Pitt goes to the colony, or that little colony that they have.
Oh, the ranch.
The ranch. Yeah. That whole tension there, because you're constantly thinking, what the hell's going to happen to him? He's not going to come out alive. And then just to the grand finale of the film, to completely everything that leading up to this, and completely which in the history of things, how they panned out, completely flipping at 180. And I think it was fun, because that's the only way that they could have probably ended that film. And Tarantino, and before, just like with Inglourious Bastards, Inglourious Bastards, kind of how he switched the script on history, and I thought it was fun. It was a really good film. Great performances all around. I think it was a really solid film. So it was one that stuck with me when I saw it in July. I had to keep it on the list. So yeah, I got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at my number 6 spot.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most gratifying ends to a movie this year. That whole ending sequence is just so incredibly well done. I think it's fantastic. I do really like the movie a lot, though it just missed my list. I do think it is a great film, and you should see it if you haven't seen it. And I'm so down for the 4-hour cut if it goes to Netflix.
Yeah, I'm down.
Speaking of 4, my number, what is this, 5? 6?
6.
6, sorry. My number 6 is Toy Story 4. Toy Story has always been a big part of my life. They were movies that I grew up loving, watching so much, I wore out several VHS tapes. I think those first 3 films are masterful. I love them. I think they are the greatest animated trilogy of all time. Second, How to Train Your Dragon. Kidding. You're good. You're all right. But when I heard there was a 4 coming, I was surprisingly disinterested, because I'm just like, I don't know. That trilogy ended so well. Don't mess with it. The marketing didn't really do anything for me. But then I saw the movie, and I gotta tell you, I did a complete 180 where I love the 4th. I think it stands up to the other 3. Is necessary? No, but at the same time, it does give you a really great movie, a great movie as a follow-up, because it does tackle the idea of, like, Andy moved on, but these toys Woody especially, may not have. And it's kind of dealing with the, trying to find new purpose, but this time for the other direction.
Yeah.
Like, I think his journey is great. I love that they brought back Bo Peep. I love her whole storyline in the movie. I think it is maybe the funniest Toy Story film. I think it's one of the side characters, mainly Ducky and Bunny, voiced by Key and Peele. And my personal favorite, Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom. Keanu's greatest stuntman are great. Forky is also hilarious. Forky doesn't get enough. Actually, Forky gets a lot of love. Kids love Forky.
Forky gets a ton of love, yeah.
Kids love Forky, and I don't get it. But I mean, I get it because he's funny. But yeah, I do think it tackles a lot of really great themes. I think the villain is maybe the most interesting since. Well, actually, they built on Toy Story pretty well. All Toy Stories have a pretty interesting villain. So yeah, Gabby Gabby's up there. I think it's wonderfully animated, wonderfully done. It's crazy to think how far we came from 1995 to now. So yeah, Toy Story 4 is my number 6.
All right, so moving into the top 5 was one that we just both recently seen not so long ago. It was your honorable mention, 1917. One of those films where Sam Mendes did a great job directing this film. The cinematography is impeccable. I think this should hands down win for best cinematography.
If it loses, I'll be shocked.
Just the way Deakins, shot that, just absolutely beautiful. And like that whole one shot scene, obviously, which wasn't one shot, but they treat it as one shot. It flows. Right. You're just on the, you go from a peaceful setting in the beginning to literally going down in the trenches with these characters, and you follow, and then then on it's you hit the ground running pretty much that whole entire hour and 45 minutes that this film is. You're invested in these two characters, kind of how you and I were talking about earlier. This is the movie that Dunkirk wish it could be.
Yes, absolutely. This is the movie people think Dunkirk is.
Yeah, and there's like I seen the Call to Action or whatever's doing, or somebody's doing a Dunkirk in 1917. I seen some kind of what the hell was it? It was a on YouTube. Not a poll. Okay. It was like
a video essay comparison. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So, and which was kind of funny because, like you and I mean, it's not even close. Blows out of the water.
Not even remotely close.
No, but no. This film really just you buy. You feel the story. You buy the characters. You're invested in the characters. I mean, not even necessarily knowing, like, they don't mention names too much, but you know the characters' names. Unlike Dunkirk, not doing names.
They still manage to make these characters identifiable. They make,
and that's the thing,
on their side, and they managed to get you to like root for their cause. Whereas Dunkirk,
and that's
you don't give a shit about anything going on.
No, because you're less vested in it. Like this is like you're more involved in this film because it puts you there. Yes. But they do it in a more effective way than Dunkirk did. But it's just a really good film. It has a lot of heart, and it's crazy how like this whole entire story unfolds in the whole entire time. But you're on the edge of your seat. You're rooting for him to try to call off this war, because if not, thousands and thousands of soldiers are going to die because they're going to be going into a trap. So, it's a race against the clock, and it's a really, really good film. Like I said, well directed, great, cinematography is beautiful in this film. And so when I saw it instantly, I knew this was going to be in my top 5 of the year. This is a really good film. 1917, number 5.
Yeah, I really done 1917. It was really a tough leave off from my top 10. Going into my number 5, this is one I've been singing the praises of just about all year. That is The Last Black Man in San Francisco. This is a tragically underseen film. Like even for A24 standards, like nobody saw this one. I was lucky enough to see it when I was in Burbank one day, and I was just this was one that was getting like a lot of buzz out of Sundance. And when I saw it, I was just completely blown away. It's a very simple story on paper, because all it is about a dude trying to get his family house back, which I know doesn't sound very interesting. It doesn't sound very exciting, and oftentimes it can't be. It's not, because it doesn't always move at a running pace. It doesn't always move at a brisk walking pace. It walks. But at the same time, you do get first of all, you get a ton of great performances, mainly from the writer/star Jimmy Fails. He's great. And this is actually a very personal story for him. Jonathan Majors, we talked about on our podcast, he is one of the best performances of the entire year. But you also have like a lot of like actors in small roles, like Rob Morgan pops in. Rob Morgan pops in for a few scenes. Tanisha, one of the two. The mom member hits Chris. She pops in. Mike Epps is in it for a little bit. Finn Whitrock. It has a really great, really solid cast. Everyone's doing a really good performance, and I think that what works best movie for me is like the deeper theme, because it's all about. It's basically a movie. It's all about gentrification, and it's all about that. It's also about trying to find your place in the world and trying to stay relevant in a world that doesn't want you relevant anymore. It's really, really great, really powerful. Has a lot of really great interesting things to say. Joe Talbot did a hell of a job directing it, and I cannot wait to see more from him. His movie's on Amazon Prime. I encourage everybody, please go check it out, because it's a wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah, like I said during the podcast, it was a film I definitely, upon your recommendation, wanted to watch. I literally started it. It was late at night. I had been working the majority of the day, and it was one of those things where 15, 20 minutes into the movie, I'm just like, it's a movie you have to be fully awake for to take it in.
Right.
And I just, in 15, 20 minutes, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a slow burn for the beginning of it.
It is.
It was just like, it didn't hold my attention enough to watch the rest of that night, but it's something I'm absolutely going to go back to. Obviously, with you, you've been singing its praises since you've seen it, so it's definitely 100%. One that I need to go back to and watch. My number 4 is one from earlier. You were talking about Uncut Gems. When I saw this film, I instantly was like, because I had heard so much good positive buzz about this film. Adam Sandler delivering, career, defining performance, and how is this movie going to be? And watching it, it was nothing short of living up to that hype. You go watch this film, and it's about a guy who just constantly makes such bad decisions. It's like he makes one bad decision to help to fix another bad decision, but then that bad decision then leads to another bad decision. It's like an interwoven web of bad decisions, and it's basically a how-to book of how to not make bad decisions. You know what I mean?
How to not make good decisions. Adam Sandler.
Yes, how to not make good decisions. Yes. Anyway, Adam Sandler delivers a tremendous performance. This is one of his best that he's ever done. Really, and again, like how we were talking about in the podcast where we have talked about the top 20 performances of this year, this film is just one that, kind of how you said, it's pulse pounding. It leaves you you're constantly like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And some of the scenes at the back end of the film come out as a surprise, though I kind of knew. I seen the route that it was going to go, and I seen that probably this is what was going to happen, but not then. But I knew that the end result was going to be probably this. It happens quite suddenly. you know what I'm talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
Just trying to give it away without spoilers for the people that haven't seen it.
I have never, basically, the thing you're rooting for in the end, I have never rooted for so hard in my life. It's like it's crazy.
And it's amazing. It's like even the one scene where he puts all this stuff together, like he parlays all this stuff to happen, and they never even placed a bet, and that shit happened on point.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Seriously? I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
It's not really a spoiler because that's like the first act of the film, but still, like, it's crazy.
No, it's the first part. It's the first, like one of the first gambling scenes that he did where he puts all this stuff parlaying. Obviously, for the people that don't know, parlaying things is like when you bet and you gamble, you parlay. I mean, it's harder to win, but the payout's more because of the fact that it's harder to win. So he put a lot of money. He wanted to put a lot of money down on it, but the bookie that he owed money to or whatever kind of was like, yeah, whatever, this guy is full of shit or whatever, and it ended up actually hitting and coming true. And that scene where you find out that they never even placed the bet, you're like, oh man, this like really sucks. But it's a great film, and I just think, like I said, I really wish he would have been nominated for this one. This was it, man. If this was one you look back in his career, you see it like this is the one. This is the complete Oscar stuff for the year.
His wrestler.
This is his wrestler, man. But
although
at least
Mickey Rourke got nominated.
Mickey Rourke was at least nominated. Yeah, that's the thing. But and the other part about it is you kind of feel bad for this character because of his home life with Idina Menzel. His wife is really cold and just kind of very distant. So he gets comfort and solitude out of this girl who, I mean, she's not a stripper, but she dresses really promiscuously. But she really isn't she? I mean, she dresses really promiscuously.
She does. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. She does.
Yeah,
she does.
But it's funny though because she genuinely loves Adam Sandler's character.
She does, film. And Julia Fox is also really, really good.
And she's really, really good at. She is. She's really, really good at.
I hope to see her do more stuff as well.
Yeah, easily could have. I mean, if the supporting actress wasn't so loaded, it easily could have crept up into a supporting actress role for this film.
Oh, but
sure. This is a really good film. Like I said, when I saw that, there was no doubt about that this movie is going to be in my top 10 of the year. It stays with you after you see it. It's one of those films. So that was my number 4, Uncut Gems.
Going to my number 4, another A24 film. I promise this is the last one on my list, but they put out some really great shit. My number 4 is Waves. I was excited for Wave the second I saw the first trailer. I thought, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like another Moonlight type movie. It's not really that. I had no idea what this movie was even about. And I think that's the best way to go into. I mean, if you see the trailer, you don't really know what's going on. But it takes such a twisted, dark turn that I really kind of dug. Like it feels almost like 2 films because there's like the first half is very focused on one character and the second half is very focused on another character. But they both tackle it's like they're both opposite sides of the same coin. Like one half is about one thing, the other half is about the opposite. The entire cast is awesome. I think Kelvin Harrison Jr. had a dynamite year. He's great in this film. The actress, I think her name is like Taylor Russell. I hope I didn't get this right because I hope I didn't get that wrong because she's great. I hope she has more stuff. The parents played by Renee Elyse Goldsberry, and he should have been nominated Sterling K. Brown. I think he has performances on par with Mahershala Ali in Moonlight. I think not only could he have been nominated, probably could have won. I think they're both fantastic. I think it's directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who did It Comes at Night 2 years prior. This is whereas that one it's very dark, very emotionless. No, and that's very intentional. This one is very heavy on emotion, very heavy on character growth and character building. And the way he directs and the way he shoots certain scenes is great. The cinematography of this one is freaking awesome. I think it's really great. And yeah, I think this is one of the best of the year. If you haven't seen Waves, go see Waves. It's such a great film.
Yeah, I would have seen it. Like I said, we didn't get it around here, so it was one of those things where upon seeing the trailer, it was one of those ones I instantly want to see, but we just didn't get it around here. All right, so moving into my number 3 was one that comes as no surprise, and you had on your honorable mentions Peanut Butter Falcon.
I knew you liked the movie a lot.
This movie was just one of those ones, man. Like, you just know it. You Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, and I can't think what's the kid's name?
Zach Gostigan. I think
Zach Gostigan, who they really actually sought out has Down syndrome, and actually was like really impressed the directors, I guess, to where they ended up casting him in this role. But you just feel this story from the beginning of the film. You really are on this journey with him and hoping that he can meet the wrestler that he really wants to meet, that he idolizes, and just even with the scene with Bruce Dern helping him escape the house that they stay, the housing that they stay in,
the old folks home.
It's great. And you really see the character maturity, the maturation of the character with Shia LaBeouf, just from coming to like a wise ass, doesn't care about anything, to end up actually having this family, this tight-knit trio at the end of the film. It's absolutely tremendous. And it's a feel-good film. You can't help but love this film. And it's just one of those ones that you can watch, rewatch, and I think you get the same thing from it every time. It's just a feel-good story. And seeing this movie, I knew this movie was going to be up there. And it was in my top for a while. Then I seen these couple other ones that really knocked it down. But I knew that this movie was going to easily be in a top 5. But
that movie,
number 3.
That movie is so great. I think
it is.
I think one of the shows called a modern Mark Twain fable. And I think that's very very.
It is, yeah. It is because.
Yeah, so
because you have that Tom Sawyer Huck Finn type relationship between
absolutely.
The characters. Yeah.
All right, so going to my number 3, I have Parasite. Parasite is a South Korean film. Directed by Bong Joon-ho. He did The Host. He did Okja. He did Snowpiercer, which I love. This movie, I really didn't know much about it going in. I heard everyone raving about it. So I'm just so often this movie builds so much hype that it can never possibly live up to. Parasite absolutely lives up to the hype. I think that it's such an intriguing story. I'm not to give too much away. It's about this. It's basically just a story of a family trying to get by. That's the base I can go into it without giving anything major away. But just the way it unfolds, it genuinely, I'm like, okay, so it's going to go in this direction, and it just goes the complete opposites.
Yeah.
I really dug it. I love the entire cast. The only name I know offhand is Song Kang-ho. But the son, the daughter, I cannot know how to say that. Jessica, Illinois, Chicago. It's really quotable. It's also really relatable. You really do identify with this family and their struggles, and to a point where, the stuff they're doing isn't necessarily good, but you do want them to succeed because you want to see them do well. And they're a bunch of they're just people who fell on hard times, and you really feel that with their action. I think Bong Joon-ho did a great job with the directing of this film. Probably my favorite of the Best Director nominees. I think he should win. I'm not sure he will, but it's possible. It could happen. I will see it. I would love to see Bong Joon-ho win Best Director. I honestly, the less I say about this movie, the better. Just go watch Parasite. And I think I love what he said at the Golden Globe. Once you overcome a 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you're open to this whole new world of amazing films. And Parasite is easily one of the standouts of the year.
Yeah. All right, so moving into my number 2, I have Richard Jewell. It was one
you really dug this movie,
dude. I love this movie. Paul Walter was absolutely fantastic.
He's great. Film. He's so great.
How he was not nominated for an Oscar is absolutely mind blowing. He has been nothing short of amazing in all the films that he's been in, especially I, Tonya. He was really great in.
This is a film
you're just constantly rooting for this guy, and this guy finds obviously it's about the 1996 Atlanta Olympic bombing or whatever, and he finds the backpack that ends up blowing up, and then of course it's a big thing where it's the FBI doesn't have anybody, it has no suspects, but however they kind of turn it around and flip the script, and they kind of pretty much want to use him as the scapegoat. They want to use him as the person who's responsible for this because his past is kind of lined up with somebody who would do something like this. You have great performances. I even love Sam Rockwell's performance in this film.
He's really good
as his lawyer. I think he's tremendous. Easily could have got nominated for a supporting actor nom. But Kathy Bates ended up getting. It is. But Kathy Bates ended up getting it. I mean, she did great. I don't think she really warranted an Oscar nomination, but at least Meryl Streep for Little Women didn't happen, so that's good.
That's true. That's very true.
Anyway, no, but you watch this movie and you're constantly rooting for him. I think, Clint Eastwood does a great job directing this film. I know it got a lot of hate just because of the fact that they have Olivia Wilde's character, that she's a journalist for the Boston Globe, if I'm not mistaken. Boston. Yes. Boston
the Atlanta.
Is she not Boston?
Atlanta Journal or something like that? The Atlanta
she's
Times.
Not Boston.
Well, either way, she's definitely not Boston.
Okay, she is a journalist, and anyway, basically, she kind of John Hamm's character kind of like you kind of are kind of led to believe that she sleeps with him for information about the case, and it didn't really happen like that. But yeah, that's a big, huge thing that's going on right now with them talking about why they think that the movie is just not that great because it deviates from the truth of what really happened. So they're coming down on Eastwood about it. And anyway, this film, minus that aside, this film's absolutely fantastic from start to finish. You're in this journey with Richard Jewell the whole entire time. Like I said, great performances. Paul Walter Hauser, Rockwell, Bates is good. Olivia Wilde's great. Even John Hamm. They're all great. They're really good star-studded cast, and it's a damn shame that this movie didn't get a lot more recognition from the Academy. But really great film, and it really leaves you with just with that satisfaction at the end of the film. So yeah, I got Richard Jewell at number 2.
Yeah, I really liked everything revolving around that movie. I enjoyed the film. I really liked everything revolving around Richard Jewell, him and his lawyer, him and his mother. I think John Hamm at the FBI agent was good.
Yeah,
I think I would have a problem with Olivia Wilde. Not the way she's acting, because I think she's giving good performance. I just think that the way they write her character, the film comes across a little hypocritical in its message, because it's criticizing the media for making someone look bad while also making someone look bad.
But on the same token, though, when watching this film, though, it's kind of implied, and you kind of know that Hamm and Wilde's character have had a sexual history before. So it's not one of those things where it's like, so to me, it's not one of those things where she literally had never slept with Hamm's character to get information. So they've had a history, before. She's just saying, hey, kind of one of those things. It doesn't make it right, but I'm saying it makes it less wrong.
I get it, and I think that I don't hate it being this high, because I do think I think it's a very well done film. Maybe one of Ethan's best in the last couple years. I think he every night he comes back with a really good film, and this is one of those.
And even The Mule.
Who?
And even The Mule.
Oh, The Mule. The Mule's good. The Mule's really underrated.
Yeah.
So going to my number 2, it's another little film. This one's from Neon. It's called Loose. So Loose, like Parasite, the less I say, the better. But basically, it's about a kid who's adopted. He's adopted by a black kid adopted by these two white couple, and they never say it, but it's heavily implied that he was a child soldier. And he comes to the U.S. and he basically becomes this like model student. Everyone loves him. Everyone looks up to him, except for this one teacher played by Octavia Spencer. And Luce is played by Calvin Harrison Jr., who getting 2 great performances this year. And from then it's just this whole psychological like mind trip to where honestly it leaves you completely on edge the entire time, because you never know what you know about the character of Luce. Yeah. And something I do admire about that, because I think Calvin Harrison Jr. gives great performance for this year. Something I admire that he does, he can give I've said in our podcast, but he can give the same line read to 2 different characters, and it will mean something completely different. He has his interaction with every single character in the film is completely, entirely unique, and it's something that's really hard to pull off. And I think it's done really well by him. I think Naomi Watts is fantastic in this film. She plays Luce's adopted mother, who she's also questioning what she knows about her own son. Yeah, it's just a really tense, really psychological ride at the point where and you're constantly being surprised the entire time. And this is directed by Julius Onah, who his last directorial effort was The Cloverfield Paradox. This is probably the biggest gap of quality between a first and second feature, because I really don't like Cloverfield Paradox, and Luz made me realize it's probably not his fault, because he is it just made me think like, oh, you're a very good director. And then you're at the point where I'm like, I will see anything you do now, because I thoroughly love this film. Yeah, definitely go check it out.
Yeah, it was one I just not revisited. I actually watched for the first time.
It, yeah,
like within the last week or whatever. And Beck didn't like it. She doesn't like these artsy films, but whatever. I don't really care. But yeah, I enjoyed the film. Great acting performances, and even Tim Roth as the dad. Tim Roth was really good too. Yeah. All right. So moving into my number one, it is one from yours earlier, Parasite. I hate to be the person that just is boring because it's on number one on like everybody's list, but kind of what you said. It's one of those things where it talks about classes and just the class systems and almost like the hierarchy of class system, so to speak. You get the lower class, the wealthy class, and then just the struggle. I just don't really want to give a whole lot away. It's one of those films you just kind of how we had said, the less you know, the better going into it. Just great performances that you leave the movie and it stays with you. I've constantly been thinking about it ever since I saw it, like, what was it, last week a week ago, and it was my number one. It made that big of an impression to where I'm like, damn, like this movie is that good. Believe the hype on it. It's a fantastic film. The subtitles don't bother me. Subtitles really never bother me to begin with. So it was one of those things where you can easily, just read and kind of just like bump up, and then like you have time to watch the movie unfold. And kind of how you said, like the director saying it's just, once you can overcome that 1-inch barrier, the world's completely open, which is true because, a lot of people don't go see that because I got to read subtitles. It's like, but it's so rewarding when you open your mind up to different cinema, to different language films and stuff like that. Because a lot of the gems like City of God, Ang Lee's Lust, Caution, there's so many foreign films out there. Nine Queens, The Aura. There's a lot of good foreign films out there that a lot of people just probably aren't passing up on just because of the fact they don't want to read those 1-inch subtitles. And it's kind of sad because there's so much great cinema out there. So yeah, check this film out. Parasite is one of the best films of the year. And it's something that, upon watching and finishing it, it does stay with you. It's a really good film, and you're rooting for this family the whole entire time. And literally, it goes nowhere where you think it's gonna go. Like you think you know it, and then they flip the switch on you, and it's a fantastic film. So yeah, that's my number one film, 2019.
Yeah, not a shock. Parasite's fucking great. Going to my number one. My number one is, I think you probably already guessed, but my number one is Avengers: Endgame. I think when I always think my number one, I always think of the movie that took me through just the gambit of emotion, gave me extremely satisfying theater experience, as extremely satisfying viewer experience, appealed to me on literally every single level it possibly could. And there's only one answer to that, and that's Avengers: Endgame. I think that, like you said earlier, it's a 11-year saga, 22 films that it's had to build up to, and it's a universe that I've been a part of since day one. I remember seeing Iron Man in theaters, so I've been all in this universe since 2008. And this gave me the gratifying end to a lot of these characters that I've loved, that I've loved watching in movies for the better part of the last decade. The scale of it is awesome. I think the direction's great. I love the story. I love all the characterizations. I think it gives a satisfying end to two staple Marvel superheroes in Iron Man and Captain America. No one will ever play those characters and do them as well as justice as RDJ and Chris Evans. They're fantastic. Takes in such an interesting new direction, and it's just a gratifying fucking movie. The climax of that movie alone is worth the price of admission, and it is, I will say, it is the best superhero action ever put to film. It would be impossible. It would be hard to top it in anything else. But yeah, I think it is a wonderful, wonderful film. I love it. It's stuck with me since I saw it opening night back in April. So yeah, my number one, Avengers: Endgame. So you want to run through your list one more time, Russell? Just real quick.
Yeah. At number 10, Hotel Mumbai. Number 9, Rocket Man. Number 8, your number one, Avengers: Endgame. 7, Ford vs. Ferrari. 6, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 5, 1917. 4, Uncut Gems. 3, Peanut Butter Falcon. 2, Richard Jewell. And 1, Parasite.
All right, so going 10 to 1 for me. John Wick Chapter 3. Number 10. Number 9, Knives Out. Number 8, Just Mercy. Number 7, Uncut Gems. Number 6, Toy Story 4. Number 5, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Number 4, Waves. Number 3, Parasite. Number 2, Loose. And number 1, Avengers: Endgame. So those are our lists What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Like, share, subscribe. Russell, you want to give us our plugs before we head out?
Yeah, check us out on our Facebook page, Notorious by Chance, where we put up our weekly poll. We have one now, which I wish more people would start voting on, because I want to know what year is the best year in cinema. We have from 2010 to 2019. We want to know the best year of film, year of film in the decade that was the 2010s. And we will pick 5 movies from that decade that wins, and we will put our own poll up to vote on which film from that year, whatever wins, for us to watch. So join that. Listen to the podcast, Notorious by Chance. Share it with your friends. We're almost at 300 followers on our Facebook group, which is great. So just keep getting that out. And I'm glad we're getting back here to our YouTube channel. So subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Chance_91. Check my other podcast, PWCA, which I will also start up again very soon. We're going to be trying to review movies a lot more constantly. We review Bad Boys for Life as soon as Russell sees it. He has not seen it yet.
I was supposed to see it tonight. Did not work out to where I needed to work it out, so I will probably be seeing that tomorrow afternoon.
But thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.